Welcome back. With less than a month to go before Election Day, both Vice President Harris and former President Trump are spending today marking the anniversary of the October 7th attack on Israel. Moments ago, Vice President Harris and second gentleman were planting a memorial tree in honor of the victims at the vice president's residence here in Washington. The vice president pledging her continued support for Israel's right to defend itself and said she will continue working for the release of the hostages. Former President Trump marked the anniversary with members of the Jewish community in New York. Later today, he will also attend a remembrance event at his golf course in Florida. Trump also did several interviews about the anniversary where he attacked the Biden administration's Middle East policy and once again said Jewish people must vote for him.
Do you think Biden and Harris have been holding back Israel from winning?
I do. I think everything they do is the opposite. In particular, him. Now, she's a dumber person than him, but he has the worst foreign policy of anybody in history, probably.
Nobody's done more for the Jewish people than I have. Nobody's done more for Israel as a president, maybe beyond being a president, if you want to know the truth. I should get 100% of the vote. No person has ever been better to the Jewish people, probably no person, period, to the Jewish people and Israel.
Let's now go to our NBC News reporters covering the campaigns. Garrett Haake is with me on set. He's covering the Trump campaign. And Monica Alba is covering the president, of course, Vice President Harris, and she's there right outside the White House. So I'm going to start with you, Monica. The vice president and her husband just wrapped up planting a tree in honor of the October 7th victims. How else is the vice president marking this anniversary?
Yeah, we heard in remarks from both of them there at the Naval Observatory at their residence the significance of today and their pledge to continue to fight to try to secure the release of those hostages and to raise awareness about the atrocities of that day. And it followed President Biden earlier at the White House holding a candlelight ceremony with the First Lady and a rabbi and offering a prayer as well. And this is, of course, Yamisha, a moment where we're talking about everything that happened, but where politics has certainly been a part of the conversation. And we've seen this over the last couple of months in terms of the Muslim and Arab American communities and trying to decide whether they're going to support Vice President Harris or what they have said about former President Trump. And over the weekend, a group of imams did end up backing Vice President Harris, saying that they argued that former President Trump posed a danger to overall their communities and their feelings of being safe if he were to be elected and to have a second term in office. So this is a day to really reflect on everything that took place, but also we can't ignore how this has sort of interfered with the race at times and been critical, especially in places like battleground Michigan and other places where that vote could be very close, since this is going to be on the margins. Yamish.
And Monica, you mentioned that endorsement. We also have an abandon Harris movement. It used to be abandon Biden, and now it's abandon Harris. How significant is the sort of tension there when you think about how close this election is and the debates we're still seeing happen among Muslims in terms of whether or not to support her?
And that is why you saw Vice President Harris, when she was in Michigan just on Friday, meeting with some representatives of that community behind closed doors. That's something that she has done before. It's something that back when President Biden was at the top of the ticket and when he was trying to navigate that issue, there were certainly tensions. There were many protests at his event. So this is something certainly that the vice president has said she wants to engage on. But you're right. These are communities that are critical in certain places that certainly can have influence and that have raised this question of the vice president maybe not coming out, and they say being forceful enough in terms of putting some distance between where the Biden administration has been when it comes to the war in Gaza and where the vice president sometimes leans in on this issue, and she has at times gone a little bit further. But that is a critical constituency, and one certainly that the vice president is trying to court, while of course being very respectful of what today marks and the incredibly somber anniversary we're all discussing today.
Yeah, Monica, I also want to ask you, we've seen a sort of media blitz when it comes to the vice president. Tell me about sort of the thinking there, the strategy there, because she went from not really doing that many interviews to having a bunch lined up this week.
Yeah, tonight she'll be doing 60 Minutes along with her running mate, Governor Tim Walz. She's also going to be appearing on a late night show tomorrow. She'll be in New York doing Colbert. She's going to be on The View. But also in the last couple of days, she recorded a really popular podcast interview known as Call Her Daddy, which focused on reproductive rights and abortion access. Take a listen to an exchange from that.
So he who, when he was president, hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did just as he intended. And there are now 20 states with Trump abortion bans. So this is the same guy that is now saying that? This is the same guy who said that women should be punished for having abortions? This is the same guy who uses the kind of language he does to describe women? So, yeah, there you go.
This is a platform that reaches millions of listeners, so this is part of this strategy from the Harris-Walz campaign to try to get out there in front of some different audiences, some non-traditional media, which we're told will continue this week, not just for the vice president, but for Governor Walz as well, as they've been under pressure to do more of this kind of thing. Yamiche.
Yeah. Thanks so much for your reporting, Monica. Now, Garrett, we played some of that interview that former President Trump gave when he was talking about Jewish voters. He said that he would, if he loses, that the Jewish people and Jewish voters would be to blame. What more are we hearing from him?
We're still dealing with a lot of the same racially charged rhetoric we get from Donald Trump on any other day of the year. In that same interview with Hugh Hewitt, he talked about the idea of murderers free in this country and non-detained immigrants. It's something we've talked about quite a bit on this program based on some ICE numbers. In this case, suggested that crime was in their genes and that there's a lot of bad genes in this country. It is the kind of language that would be disqualifying for so many other candidates, but has become something run-of-the-mill for Trump, especially when he's describing immigrants. It's incredible, really, to think about the fact that he can say all of this and just roll with it, and it doesn't really even make a big headline anymore because he just continues to repeat these things that would be, as you said, sort of career-ending for other politicians. But I want to also ask you about Butler, Pennsylvania. He was back there. What was that trip like? Because, of course, it was the scene of the first assassination attempt. Yeah, look, the days after the first assassination attempt were really a high point for the Trump campaign. He rallied the whole party around him. He obviously survived a bullet to the head. Joe Biden was on the ropes. I think part of the purpose for this visit was to go back and try to recapture some of that magic from mid-July. What we know about Trump, though, is he operates in a fairly narrow emotional bandwidth. So, yes, there were some notes about unity, about Corey Comparator, the firefighter who was shot and killed. There are also some of conspiracies and some of the same sort of hints about more conspiracies to come at the end of the election. Take a listen to 2 moments that kind of jumped out. We'll talk about on the other side.
Over the past 8 years, those who want to stop us from achieving this future have slandered me, impeached me, indicted me, tried to throw me off the ballot, and who knows, maybe even tried to kill me. We have to save our country, so you have to get out and vote. You got to get out and vote. You got to get your friends and vote because, you know, they play a lot of tricks, this particular other side.
Trump there playing footsie with 2 conspiracies that we know that he will continue to talk about. First, the idea that there is a mysterious they who was responsible for the assassination attempts against him. There's no evidence of that of any kind. And second, his continuing to suggest that any outcome other than victory for him in 2024 will be because of dirty tricks, cheating, or a stolen election, like he continues to say about 2020. As we keep talking about conspiracy theories, and in keeping in that vein with Donald Trump, he's also been spreading conspiracy theories and false claims about Hurricane Helene and saying that Republican victims aren't getting aid. He's also been saying that FEMA has been redirecting money to house undocumented migrants. All of those things are not true from what we can tell and from what the evidence shows. Why, though, does he keep on doing this, especially when aides and campaign aides, they keep wanting to say he's going to talk about policy and other things? Do they want to be having this conversation? I think there's a universe in which the government's response, if it is indeed poor or insufficient in these states, particularly North Carolina and Georgia, that is a worthwhile issue for the campaign. That's not necessarily what Trump is doing here. And I think this relates to your first point, Yamiche, which is Trump is sort of impervious to the kind of fact-checking that would normally hold a normal politician back from this. And it's not for lack of trying. We can point out over and over again that these things you're saying are not true. But when you think to the degree you want to ascribe it to strategy and not just him saying whatever he wants to say in any given moment, I think he understands that his voters and the people who are inclined to listen to him and might become his voters are far more interested in what he's going to say than what us sort of nebbish, nerdy journalists fact-checking him say is wrong. What he's hoping what he says resonates with them emotionally in a way that our kind of finger-wagging facts never quite do.
Yeah, well, it's a strategy that might work, might not. We'll see.
And a huge problem for us.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Garrett.
You bet.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.